Hi everyone, this is Swanky Markets here with the weekly review from the 3rd to the 7th of May 2010, and it was a mental week. I did say at the start of the week I was expecting lots of movement this week and lots of volatility, and it just went nuts. It's very hard this week to put a number on the amount of pips that my Outlook videos made to an exact number. We know we made thousands of pips this week, but we did not get the pullbacks to logical levels on a lot of pairs, and price just kept on going and going and going. I did show you during the week what to look for in smaller time frames and breakouts of them to enter to get you in, but I don't know how many of you did do that and got in at which levels, because there was a few of them. So I can only count the pips I know you made from my Outlook videos, the areas I said to watch, and the little trick I showed you on Wednesday night, the NPB system. And even on the final count of those figures, what I've done is I've taken a third off just to be even fairer on the pip count, and I can't be fairer than that. So let's go through this week pair by pair, and we'll start with the pound dollar. I said on Monday that the pound could break the daily pennant here, and it could be on its way to yield 1,000 pips. Well, it broke the pennant and it did come back to get you in here. If you look at the wick there, it came back to the pip, and then it fell 692 pips the whole way down if you count the whole movement. It ended up the week pulling back just above the 14779, which is a strong support and resistance area on the daily, which is the daily chart we're looking at now. I also showed you a trick on Wednesday night on a lot of pairs to do, and I went through the ranges and this and that and other things, and you could put an order 20 pips below the close of the candle if you didn't get a pullback to the 50% on this pair, and you got a pullback to the 50% on this pair. If you got filled down, if you put it in late and you got filled on the 20, price went on to make 331 pips on just that day alone, and it depends where you got out. If you got in at the 50% of the fib, which would have been a better entry, price then moved 407 pips. So you know, it depends where you got out, really. So I haven't held any pound pair over the weekend, as I expect the Conservatives and the Lib Dems to hammer out a deal today. And if they do that, then this pair could gap big at market open, so it depends on that. If they don't, then this pair will fall further. So I banked what I had Friday afternoon, and I will look at this pair later today when I do my analysis. But I mean, this pair, if you got in up here at the daily pennant here, look, you can see the price just bombed down 697 pips, 698. If you got in at the 50% of this fib, for this day alone was 407. If you got in 20 below this candle here on this day, it would have been 361, 341. So, and if you had got in below and you just held it for the whole thing here, you'd 605. So what I've done is I've put down 500 pips here, which I think is fair. You know, I haven't gone to the maximum of over 700 or anything like that, but I've just put 500 pips down for this move because we had few entries to get in. The euro dollar. I'm still holding out for my target of 1.2200 for this pair, although there is talk this could go to parity, but we'll come to that later on today when I do my analysis for next week. I said on Monday that this pair had not bounced a lot. It had come down Monday and had not bounced up that much. It had not found that many buyers, and it still showed sign of weakness. It was a hard pair to get into if you were not in, as it just raced away. We didn't get a pullback until Friday, but I showed you that trick on Wednesday, and Thursday it would have netted you 248 pips. Which is Thursday, which is this move here. I also said on Wednesday night it had broken a weekly trend line. If we go to the week, it had broken this trend line here, and it pulled away. Sorry, this pair here, this trend line, the lower one, it had broken that on, and it pulled down. And then it's ended up the week just slightly above this trend line. So this trend line here goes back to 2005. It was this trend line that broke, and I put this in later and I emailed it out to everybody on our email list. So if you did get in on the pullback at 2851, it came back to 2856 and got you in. So that move would have had you 5 pips on the drawdown, which is nothing, before pulling away. It was a perfect entry and it would have netted you 331 pips. I showed you during the week other ways you could have got into this pair, but I did not give you a number. That's why I'm only counting where I know you got in. I believe that that's fair on this pair. This also worked on the trick I showed you Wednesday night. For Thursday, you would have got in 20 pips below this. So on this day alone, it went 268, so that would have been 248 maximum, and you could have got out of that. If you got in on the retest of the trend line where I said the day before, you would have got more pips out of that. So euro yen, let's go to euro yen. Euro yen, I said I wasn't touching it on Tuesday, but it broke a trend line and I did, but I'm not counting those pips on the review because I didn't tell you. That's fair. Anyway, on Tuesday night I said to wait for a break of the pennant and to get on the retest. This is the pennant here, and if I go down to the smaller time frames and we just move this along, 1 second now, we just move this along and you'll see this here was the break of the pennant here, and we had a retest here, closed below it. It gave you another chance. It touched the trend line again. So that's 8 hours. This is a 4-hour chart. On smaller time frames, you'd have more chances. 4-hour chart, it gave you 8 hours to get in. And then it just fell away. So if we just go back to the daily, where are we? Anyway, it gave you plenty of chances to get in. If you got in there, price fell 1,224 pips. I showed you the NPB, the little trick on Wednesday night to use. If you'd used that on Wednesday night, on Thursday you would have had a maximum of 953 pips, 933 pips, take you 20 off. Movement. If you got in up here, where I said to get in the day before on the retest of that, you would have been up over 1,200 pips. I ended up getting out of that with 924 pips. So you had 2 good chances to get into that move. It depends where you got out. I got out at 11208 because price really bounced hard and it was bigger, and there was a bigger wick. If you go to the smaller time frames, which you'll see a bigger wick. And I always say when price moves that much, it's too much too soon, and you're better off just getting out and banking what you have, and you can get back in later, because it is a too much too soon move. It's a huge amount of pips. So that's what we got there. If we go to the dollar Swiss, I said to watch this the euro and this pair. Price raced away all week, not giving you an entry. I said on Wednesday that this pair needed a rest, and it came on Thursday. On Thursday we had a complete retest of the whole previous day's candle here. On Thursday then I sent out an email to those who were in our email list of this picture here, and I said of this trend line. I said it was on the 15 minute. I said it was at critical levels. If price broke this, I was going in. Price broke and it fell. You could have got out of this 200 here for 89 pips, or you could have got out of the 365. You'll see here the 36 depends where you got in, but it just basically just moved away. 157 pips. Price then came along, came back up. It gave you another chance to get in at that break here, and you could have got back in then again for another 119 pips, and the price is just riding that 365 EMA on the 15 minute. So you had 2 chances there, 157 pips down to the 365. You could have got back in again here, another 119 pips. So it depends where you got in there. If we go to where are we going now? The Aussie dollar. The interest rate came out on Monday night and it still tanked, even though we got a rate hike. I took an 18 pip loss on this the following day. I got in long at 191.80 and it took me out at 18 pips. It tanked because the Bank of Australia said it would not raise rates anymore for a while. It pinged off the top of our daily channel, which is here, and it just fell away. It just bombed. It fell 564 pips this week. I said not to long this pair until it showed us the bottom, and we found support at 87.14, which is the 55 EMA on the daily chart, the weekly chart. Sorry. Prices failed to close below 88.19, which is previous support. The little trick, the NPB I showed you Wednesday night, would have netted you up to 298 pips on Thursday. If you look at the smaller time frames, The very, very latest you would have got out of that was 131 pips. I mean, you gave back over 160 pips. I mean, you wouldn't have got out that late. You wouldn't have. So, you know, but I have put 131 pips in there just to be conservative. You would have made more on that. Price really just did bounce. The US dollar CAD. Here we go. I said during the week that this was racing up. I said I was watching the 10400 level, 10400 level. If you come down to the smaller time frames here, it pinged off it here and it came down. If you go down to the 1 hour, you can see that this blue line here that I've drawn is the 10400 level. It pinged off at the top of this trend line, came down to the bottom of this trend line, came up, bounced off the pivot, back down. It gave you two chances to get out at this. Alright,